right, so it looks like our guest is here. Let's get him on the show. It's been 5 long years since we talked to the metal cowboy himself. Here he is, the one and only Mr. Ron Keel. What's going on, Ron?
Good evening, Bay, and thanks for having me on the show. A lot is going on, and hopefully we'll talk about that and more. I appreciate the opportunity to promote the new album and KEELFest and all the stuff that we're going to talk about tonight.
I'm excited. I can't wait, man. Dude, I can't believe it's been 5 years, first of all.
I know. Time flies. And I know that you did reach out a while back, a couple of years ago, and I'm glad we finally hooked up again and got back on Totally Driven. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, I mean, with that, let's get like the real important thing out there. And how is your wife doing? Because that was when I had reached out when you first said about your wife being sick. And I was like, oh, like way more important things to take care of.
Well, thanks for asking. She's doing great. She's cancer-free, and she kicked its ass. And we had a happy ending to that story. She's healthy and beautiful, and we came through that stronger and more in love than ever. It was a trying time at the time because I had just lost my gig as band leader and radio host at the Sioux Falls Entertainment Complex called Badlands Pond, which is why we relocated to Sioux Falls in the first place. So business goes belly up, and then 3 weeks later, literally, Renee was diagnosed with cancer. And it was a pretty scary time for us. Obviously, when you get that diagnosis, when the doctor gives you the news, life changes, and it never goes back. It's a life changer, and it was obviously it's time to go to war, and we're going to fight this thing, and we're going to win. And at the time, I had to go tell my band, first of all, the guys in the band, some of them relocated here to Sioux Falls with me to put together my dream team, and we had just rebranded it as the Ron Keel Band. And I had to go tell the guys, first of all, you know, our backing is no longer intact. I mean, they've taken the tour bus, they're pulling out all the money, and we're on our own. And second of all, Renee's got cancer, and I don't know how much, if any, I'm going to be able to tour this year. And they stuck with me, man. They had my back. They were my support group through the whole process. And I said, well, if we can't do a lot of shows, let's write some songs. And we started to create what you now hold in your hands, which is the new Ron Keel Band album, Fight Like a Band. And that title, the title of the album and the title track both sing and speak to the struggle to survive and succeed that we've all been through, both with Renee's bout with cancer and with my struggles in the music business from the time I was in Hollywood in the 80s on the Sunset Strip, and the struggles that we still go through every year, every week, every day to try and survive and succeed. So that album is a true testament both to Renee and the guys in the band that stuck with me through the hard times, and now it's paying off because we've got a great record on our hands. And so many great shows this year, starting next week with KEELFest. We've had a couple of good gigs already, but this is the big one that's going to kick off our summer touring season, KEELFest in Columbus, Ohio, May 10th. And Keel, Steeler, and the Ron Keel Band all in the same bill. And I know you had mentioned that earlier in the show. Yeah, I was listening. I appreciate that. You're going to make a road trip, right?
You know, I really got to. I should. Tell me about this whole KEELFest, because when I heard about it, I'm like, that sounds like such a great idea. And then I'm like, wait a minute, Ron's going to play 3 times that night. Like, that's
no, I'm just going to play once. I'm just going to play once.
Okay, so how's this going to work? Tell me.
It's a 3-hour show. There's no stop. There's no band break. This is one solid 3-hour show, intertwining all of the music and memories and friends and bandmates all coming on and off stage at various times. It's like it's a production show. It's not Steeler plays, then we take a break, then Keel plays. No, it's one solid show. So I do have a 1 minute and 15-second break in between RKB and Keel. I got a minute 15 to change cowboy hats, and I'm back on stage.
Holy cow. How'd this whole thing come about?
Well, it was a dream of mine a couple of years ago, and I thought it would be really cool to to get all my friends and bandmates. And the thing is, all these guys, the guys in Steeler, Mitch Perry on lead guitar, who replaced Yngwie Malmsteen in Steeler in the summer of '83. Rick Fox, who was the bass player on that original Steeler album. The guys in Keel, same, Brian J., Mark Ferrari, Dwayne Miller, the classic Keel lineup from 85, 86, 87. And the guys in the Ron Keel Band were all friends. And that's the most important thing. We really love each other. There's a lot of brotherhood, a lot of memories, a lot of good times, a lot of good music. So it was a way for me to get all those guys together under one roof on one stage. Now, my primary focus is Ron Keel Band. Keel is a side project. I don't want anybody to ever – I have to drill that home in my interviews, the fact that Ron Keel Band is the mothership. Now, that's where my heart, my soul, my money, my energy, everything goes. Keel is a brotherhood. It's a family. It's a group of guys that there's just so much great times and memories and our legacy and our history. And we just got back from Italy yesterday, the day before, did the Frontiers Festival in Italy, and the band is on fire. It's as good or better than it's ever been. And those guys want to play. The Keel is not a career decision or business. Keel is just a bunch of guys that really want to play, and I'd like to play with them whenever I can. And this way I can feed both dogs, so to speak. I can indulge the guys in Keel who are my friends and my brothers, and they really want to play. Come on, Ron, let's do some shows. Come on, Ron, let's stop doing. I'm busy with the Ron Keel Band. I got a new album out I got to promote. Oh, come on, Ron, let's play some shows. This way I can do both. And the key word in the title of the event is not Keel, it's Fest, which means party, good time, a celebration. And that's what this show is all about. It's not about me. It's not about Keel. It's really just a celebration of all these guys and our friendship and our fans. We've got people coming from all over the country, from coast to coast, from every state in the union, traveling to see this event. Now, it may or may not be the only KEELFest. I don't know about that. I'm not planning for I'd like to do more in the future, but right now my focus is on May 10th, 1 week from Saturday, and 1 week from Friday. Why do I keep saying that? I've been saying that in interviews all day long. People are going to show up the next day, and the gig will be over. It's 1 week from Friday, May 10th in Columbus, Ohio. Tickets available still at KEELFest.com, but this gig's going to sell out. And I'm just really excited about it, man. And, I sing 3 hours a day anyway. I work out at the gym. I'm extremely active. I speak very loudly, as you can probably tell. My pipes are in good shape, man. I got this, and I'm excited to get on stage and sing all of these songs in one night, all the Keel classics, the stuff from the Steeler album, and all the new Ron Keel Band songs from the Fight Like a Band album.
It's going to be an amazing night. I really want to be there. It really. Oh.
It really is. It really is going to be an amazing night, and we are not filming this for any type of release. It's an expensive gig, as you can imagine. There's a lot of moving parts with the 11 musicians, the crew, and the production, and all that. So there's no budget for a camera crew to film this thing and record multi-track audio as we should. So, and I'm not real hip on the cell phone in the air recordings. I don't want to be the latest guy to jump on that bandwagon, but man, it doesn't look good. It doesn't sound good, and you're going to end up seeing crap on YouTube. And if you're not there, that's the only way you're going to see it. And it's not going to sound good. It's not going to look good. But I guarantee you, if you're in that building at the El Rosa Villa in Columbus, Ohio on May 10th, it will sound good. It will look good, and it will feel good. So come on, man, no excuse. What is it, 10-hour drive for you? I think I heard you mention earlier. 10 hours is nothing. Come on. I got a 20-hour drive to get there. It took me 43 hours to get home from Milan a couple days ago. Literally 43 hours from the time the shuttle picked me up at the hotel in Milan till the time my plane landed here at home in Sioux Falls. Absolutely brutal. Next time I'm making my own travel arrangements. But I'm going to KEELFest, man. I'm hitting the road Monday morning, and just really fired up about that gig. And a lot of the other big gigs we've got this summer. We do a lot of biker shows, a lot of bike events, Hot Harley Nights in Sioux Falls, which is the Sturgis for this part of the region. We played there last year for 20,000 people. This year we're playing again with Night Ranger, and really excited about that one and some of the other shows that are on the calendar at ronkeel.com. So, and more gigs getting booked every day. So I'm excited about every show. I believe that the biggest show of my life is the next show I do. No matter what show it is, there are no small gigs. I treat every one as if it were my last or my first.
Now with the KEELFest, how did Ohio become the destination for this?
I have a very strong, solid fan base in the Columbus area. I got some pretty deep roots there. I lived there for a couple of years, and that's where my band Iron Horse in 2000, 2001, 2002, we did a lot of, every bike event, every roadhouse, every club, every bar. We pounded that market for several years, and those people, they embraced the band and me. A lot of these people didn't even know who Keel was or who Ron Keel was. They just embraced Iron Horse, built a huge following in the area. So going back for an event, actually the next night after KEELFest, we're playing in Plain City, Ohio, which is about 30 miles outside of Columbus. And it's a benefit concert for a dear friend of mine who passed away last year from cancer. That beast continues to rear its ugly head. But his name was George, Big George, and he was best man at our wedding when Renee and I got married. And that's how tight we were. And he owned a bar in Plain City. So we're going back to his bar now to celebrate his life and raise money for his loved ones that he left behind and to celebrate his memory and our friendship. This is actually the site of the first ever Ron Keel Band gig in 2014. Last time you and I spoke on the air, we did a couple of shows back for Big George. The guy, he booked us there. That's where I met D.C. Cawthorn, the guitar player in the Ron Keel Band. He did those Ohio shows with me, and we've been best friends and bandmates ever since for the last 5 years. So there's a lot of memories, a lot of deep roots, a lot of good friends in Ohio. And when I knew I was going to do that benefit gig, I wanted to bring my whole band. I could do a solo acoustic show, but it'd be really cool to bring the whole band somehow. And a promoter, Tong Productions, Missy Tong and her husband Jeff Tong, who are a concert promoter in Columbus, Ohio, and longtime friends of ours, reached out and said, Ron, what about a show the night before with RKB, do a Ron Keel Band gig? And, Ron Keel Band we're still new. We had a lot to prove, and people don't exactly know what we're all about yet. They're finding out quickly. But I said, well, they don't know if Ron Keel Band can sell this place out. It's a big venue. But I know how we can sell this thing out. Let's do this KEELFest gig. And I had registered the domain years ago. It's like, I'm a domain whore. I can think of any idea that I think of. I'm going to register. In fact, I just registered Bay Ragney Interviews, ronkeel.com. So we can put all our interviews on that new website. I'm kidding. But I just, just spur of the moment, right? KEELFest, that sounds like fun. And I registered the domain. I sat on it for a few years. Now it's come in handy because that's our ticket link. Go to KEELFest.com, get tickets. It's $30 for a ticket and $20 for a VIP after party pass. The show is 3 hours long. We've got a great opening act, by the way. Rat Bastard Syndicate, great local opener from Columbus, Ohio. Bobby Brown, the Cherry Pie Girl, the video vixen, world famous Bobby Brown. She is hosting the show, emceeing the show, and she's going to do comedy, one of her stand-up comedy routines. So she is like our host for the evening.
She's hostess. Bobby's raunchy. I hope you're ready for it.
How cool is that? So, and then the show is 3 hours long, from 9 to midnight, maybe, something like that. And then after that, it's the VIP after party for $20. You can get your picture taken with all three bands, Keel, Steeler, and Ron Keel Band. Autographs, meet and greet, have some cocktails. Just a celebration, a party with our fans and our people. And I know we've already got, there's I think a couple of hundred of those VIP after party passes already sold. So we're going to have our hands full. When the show's over, the party begins.
Now that sounds like such an amazing night. Really, like I mean, like out here in the Philly area, like the scene's kind of like it's making me sick anymore, honestly.
Yeah.
It's being overrun with like tribute bands, like, and I've even like had this conversation with a good friend of mine who plays in the original band, and he plays also in a tribute band. I'm like, dude, just like, I just see like the whole original scene, like everybody's going to the tribute band thing now. It's just like the whole scene's dying, and it's because nobody's coming out.
It's tough. Yeah, I get it,
Yeah.
and it's the same everywhere. It's not just Philly; it's worldwide. The grass is always greener on the other side of the fence, and it's very tough for original bands to make a living and to make money. I do believe that part of that is the quality of the music. If you're going to be in an original band, you better have some great tunes, man. You got to have great songs, and that's the cool thing about Ron Keel Band is we can go out. We just did the album release party. We did the entire album in its entirety for the first time live ever. Nobody had ever heard any of those songs. The whole first hour and 15 minutes of the show was the entire new album in its entirety, and it worked. You got by the second chorus, everybody's got their fist in the air, yelling "Fight like a band." You got to have great songs. That's the bottom line. And every song's a cover. Every song's an original. I mean, whether you wrote it or not, once you write it and record it, when you go out on stage every night, you're covering it. You're covering your own song. To me, there's absolutely no difference. They're all originals because somebody wrote them, and they're all covers because you're covering. I'm covering Keel, and even in Ron Keel Band, we do the Keel hits. I'm covering my own stuff. And like you said earlier in the program, I'm opening up for myself 3 times over. That was a great line. But no, I'm just singing once at KEELFest. It's one solid 3-hour show. Now we'll see what's left of me. I got a gig the next day. How crazy am I? Let's just book a gig the next day. So but I feel confident in my ability to deliver a great show. And if I wasn't able to do that at this stage of the game, I'd be done, man. I'm not going to be one of those tired guys limping out on stage, mailing it in. I'm not going to name any names, but I think all of those 80s bands are judged upon the strength of their singer. And some of them now have new singers.
Yeah.
Autograph, Queensryche, I mean, the list goes on. These bands have new singers, and it's my name. I'm Ron Keel. If I can't go out there and kick ass and represent and give the people what they deserve and give my bandmates what they deserve, I would not do it. I'm confident in my ability to lay it down, deliver a great show, and as long as the fans are out there, I'm going to give them, as long as they're listening and watching and paying that $30 or $50 or whatever, I'm going to give them their money's worth.
Nice. Now, how about too with the album? You guys are on a EMP label group, which I was kind of taken back. I was like, "Whoa, okay, Dave Elvison's in the mix here."
Well, that's a great home for us, and I'm not sure why you were taken aback. I mean, why did that surprise you?
Because he's putting more harder stuff out, or more like I know he's got like some punk bands and more metal, and your album's more rock. It's more of a rock album. It's got the true.
Okay, yeah, I get that. But the reason first of all, Dave and I go way back to the Steeler Megadeth days of the '80s, our Hollywood heyday. So we've known each other a long time, and we were able to get to know each other even better when David brought his band Dollskin, which he produced, manages, and they're on EMP as well.
Amazing.
He brought Dollskin for a show in Sioux Falls, and it was our band and Dollskin, and then at the end of the night, David Ellison joining Ron Keel Band for a set of covers. And we did some Megadeth, did some Montrose, did some Iron Maiden.
Oh, cool.
And over the course of that couple of days, I got to know David even better and gained even greater respect for him as a businessman and for his passion for his business, for EMP and for his bands and his artists. And he was releasing some really great records from my peers. Mark Slaughter, that Slaughter record, Halfway There, God, what a great album. And the Autograph, Get Off Your Ass album with Simon Daniels on lead vocals now with Autograph, they had some serious chart action. I mean, several big radio hits and a huge success with Autograph. And I think my band fits more into that niche as opposed to some of the heavier bands that EMP has. David created an imprint on EMP for us called EMP Outlaw, which is his southern rock outlaw country type imprint. And I know we don't like to use the C word, the country thing, because this is not a country album. I'm going to fight that until I'm dead, because I have sung a lot of country music, and country music was really good to me, and still is one of my best friends. That style of music, that country sensibility or songwriting style, that's my friend, and I'm very proud to incorporate some of those elements into what we're doing now. There's a little bit of twang, here and there. I'm a Southern boy. I was born in Georgia. And I moved to Nashville, Tennessee when I was 17. I got deep roots in the South. My dad was a country musician who played with Hank Sr. and some other country artists back in the 40s and 50s. So wow. those roots run deep. It's in your blood, man. But David embraced what this band was all about. And when it was time to make a record, I've got this internal clock that goes off every few years and says, got to make a record. Time to make an album. And I didn't even have any songs at the time. I just knew it was time. Ron Keel, when Renee got diagnosed with cancer, we couldn't tour, as I mentioned earlier in the conversation. So we've got to write some songs to make a record. If I can't leave home, because I wanted to be there for the surgeries, and she had 7 surgeries, chemotherapy, radiation, all that. I want to be there for all that and be there to take care of her when she needs me. So we decided to write some songs, and David Ellefson was absolutely in our corner. He sat down across the table from me when we signed the record deal, and he said, Ron, I want you to sing your life. Just be you. And what a huge, refreshing encouragement that was, because so many of the labels probably would have just wanted another Keel record. Just give us the same shit you gave us back in 1985, and we'll be all right. I'm not that guy anymore. That guy has grown and evolved. I'm not any. There's more to me now than there was then. I mean, I was young. I was, fired up by the energy, the electricity, the excitement of heavy metal and hard rock, and I loved it. I embraced it, and I still do. That's why there are 4 Keel songs on this new album. We re-recorded "The Right to Rock" and "Tears of Fire" and Keel medley, which includes "Because the Night" and "Somebody's Waiting." And those songs fit right in on this album. It does not sound like – it sounds like the same band, sounds like the same approach, and the same style, frankly. It's a very diverse record. It takes you on a ride, and it's best listened to top to bottom. On a long road trip or a plane flight, man, let's put this thing on from the first notes of Road Ready till the last notes of Hey Man. You're gonna have a good time, and you're gonna feel something. This music resonates with people, and the response we've gotten from the fans and the media has been absolutely incredible. People seem to get it, and the praise that we've received is certainly a huge thrill for us, because when you're creating something like this, you got no idea. It's right in my face. There's no way I can see the forest for the trees. I'm just trying to make the best record possible, write the best songs I can. When it comes out and you see that reaction, it's very, very fulfilling, very rewarding to know that the fans are hearing and feeling the same things that I am.
I was going to say too, listening to this album, I honestly felt that this was your most diverse record. Like, you truly can hear and feel, Ron Keel through the years. Like, you took elements of all of your musical career and combined it into this, more mature Ron Keel, like modern day Ron Keel, but it's got the elements of your whole musical career throughout the album.
Thank you.
Country
I appreciate
included.
that. And that it's not calculated. It wasn't thought out. There was no decision made to, this is the direction we're going in. We just tried to write the best songs we could. And there is very, very much that 80s Keel style music in songs like Road Ready. The title track, Fight Like a Band, is a commercial hard rock anthem, very much along the lines of what we would have done back then. Heart's Gone Wild. There are elements of that arena rock, 80s hard rock, whatever you want to call it. There's country. There's one country song on the record. It's called Just a Cowboy, and it's a great song. I had no intention of putting that on the record. I thought maybe probably not right for this band. But one night we're rehearsing here at my house, and we were down in the basement rehearsing. The guys went out for a smoke break or something, and I just stayed down in the basement plucking on the guitar. And I was playing that song when they came back in. They said, "What's that?" I go, "That's the song I wrote. It's called Just a Cowboy." And I played it for them, and they said, "That's got to be on the record." All the guys in the band were unanimous, demanding, "Ron, that song's got to be on the record. That's a great song." And it really is. So whether it's country or metal, if it's a great song, it's going on the record. And there's a song on there called Good Songs, Bad Times, which to me, it was the first song written for the project. And it's a song about how music can lift you up even in the worst of times. You can always, music is your therapy, so to speak. Absolutely. And I can't even tell you, babe, I don't even know what style of music that song is. It's not metal. It's not country. I don't even know what kind of song is it. It's I don't know, but even the metalheads love it. Everybody's getting that message that those good songs are going to help us get through the bad times. And it's a universal theme that I think everybody can identify with. So yes, it is a diverse record. You got the Keel stuff, man. I got the Right to Rock. Come on, that's right. My all-time signature anthem. A brand new version of that song, which demanded that I sing it just one more time. I've been doing it on stage live, of course, now for 35 years, and felt that really wanted one more crack at that vocal. Now it sounds like I always wanted it to, with a strong, not necessarily mature vocal, but just a seasoned professional singer, as opposed to the 24-year-old kid who sang it back in the day, who was really green and really didn't even yet know how to execute a master vocal in the studio. Now I know what the hell I'm doing, and those songs deserve another shot. Tears of Fire, which is so many fans' all-time favorite Keel song, great, and a classic 80s power ballad, really deserved a new vocal because it's a great song, and the previous version, frankly, for me, was unlistenable. I could not listen to it, and that's sad, man. It's one of your best songs ever. That vocal's crap, man. That vocal on that 86 record, absolute crap. And the fans love it. I know they dig the original. That's the original version or whatever. It's just not as good, man. And I've had 35 years of practice. Why shouldn't I be better now than I was then? So you're damn right. I'm giving those songs another crack, another lease on life, so to speak. And I'm really proud of those Keel songs we re-recorded for this album. The reason behind that, I know a lot of bands will re-record their previous songs because of the master rights, ownership, and licensing and things like that. But really, that had nothing to do with it. When we started making the record, we didn't have any songs. So literally, I thought, well, we'll maybe re-record some of my classics from my early days. We'll record some covers, and hopefully we'll end up writing a few good songs. It didn't end up like that. We ended up with 11 brand new, great original songs, an album's worth, and decided to include the Keel songs on there as a bonus, and also to show the fans that I treasure my past, man. I've always embraced my history, and I'm very thankful and appreciative for those accomplishments and for all the cool stuff we did back in the day, and to show the fans that this music is a bridge between where I am now and where I was then, and it's all part of the Ron Keel songbook.
You know what I really realized this week too about Keel, like as I was going back and through the Keel catalogs throughout the week, reminding myself of some amazing memories. Especially seeing you guys play Philly on the flatbed truck at the corner of Second and Chestnut back in '85.
Dude, that was an awesome gig. I remember that show. That was amazing. And in fact, there are some pictures in a scrapbook somewhere. As far as you could see, we're in this intersection in Philly, and as far as you could see, just a sea of people. And I remember that I met Jeff LaBar from Cinderella. He was a kid in the audience that day. Came up to meet and greet and got our autograph, and ended up, of course, being friends and doing some shows with him through the years. But man, that was a great gig. I remember that pretty good.
I was a 15-year-old kid smashed up against the stage, and I learned and discovered Yukon Jack that day.
Wow, good for you, man. Good for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a good memory, man. Right on.
But what I really realized too, like listening to the old Keel and then Keel through the years, I was like, you really heard like early on, like Keel was truly a metal band that really evolved into a mature rock band through the years.
Well, a lot of that is the producer as well. You know, Gene Simmons produced that first Right to Rock album. And he had a vision for the band and a sound and a sonic identity that he created for us on that record. So yeah, that one's a metal record. It's kind of like a football team, man. I mean, you know, it depends on the coach. Some coaches are going to make you throw the ball. Some coaches are going to want you to run the ball. And, you know, really a lot of that depends on the producer. Now, on the Final Frontier, which followed up the Right to Rock in 1986, we were able to go back in the studio with Gene Simmons and record the Final Frontier. Gene let up on me. He trusted me and my vision at that point, so I was allowed to experiment with other sounds and other song stylings, more commercial material like Just Another Girl, and some acoustic guitars, keyboards. We actually included a ballad on that record, Tears of Fire. That's where it was first released, and Gene was able to let me kind of create a diverse record, and I do believe every album should be that way. Just like every movie should be that way. Every movie, you've got to have some dialogue, you got to have some action, you got to have some scenery, you might have to have a couple of sex scenes. I mean, every movie, you couldn't just have, well, I guess if it was porn, you could just have all sex, right? Or how boring would Rocky be if it was just 2 hours of them duking it out? He's got to cry, and he's got to hold his Adrian, and he's got to go through the training, and it takes you on a journey. It's a movie, just like an album. I'm still old school, man. I love listening to those albums like Kiss, Destroyer, that would take you on a ride and create something that you can really enjoy and experience, as opposed to just song, 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 song. An album is to me, it's just the way it's supposed to be, probably because I'm old school, and that's how I grew up listening to those albums, and I would put them on my turntable, and they were the soundtrack of my youth. And I was a record player, and when side one was done, you flip over and play side two. I think I've always tried to create albums that were experiences like that. And, of course, if you don't like something, man, hit the skip button. You've got one now. Everybody's listening to it on Spotify, and they've got their favorite songs, and that's cool. There's enough really good stuff on this record to entertain any type of music fan, whether you are a fan of Metal Cowboy and what I've done the last 5 or 10 years, or if you're an old school 80s metalhead, you're going to find a lot on this record to like.
Yeah, and like I said, it's truly, it's Ron Keel through the years into a 2019 mixture of a good rock and roll album.
Thank you, man. And you know the scary thing is now, it's probably not my last record. I got to top this someday, which is a huge challenge. I thought when Keel did that Streets of Rock and Roll album in 2010, that to me, that's by far the best Keel album ever. And it was on Frontiers Records. It was our big 25th anniversary reunion / comeback record. What a great album. And then it took me a few years to create Metal Cowboy, which came out in 2014, re-released last year by EMP as Metal Cowboy Reloaded, remixed, remastered, resequenced. And after that one, I didn't know how I was ever going to top that, because it really is a very special, personal statement for me. And I'm really proud of it. I really like it. I'm really proud of it. It's not ego. So like, hey, my stuff's great or anything, but I really like it. I really enjoy it. At this stage of the game, I got to make music for me. You know, I got to make records that I'm going to listen to 10 years from now and shed a tear and go, man, that was great. I love that. It's because I can't control what everybody else thinks and feels. The thing is, I sold 3 million albums, Bay, and you know what that means? It means there's billions of people who don't like what I do. I'm cool with that. And so you have to make records for yourself and hope that the audience will hear and feel the same things that you're hearing and feeling. And we've done that with Fight Like a Band. It's absolutely number one in my CD player in my truck. I've been listening to it now we finished the record in November, and I can't stop listening to it. I really enjoy it. I hope the fans will give it a listen, give it a shot, and check out the new Fight Like a Band album from Ron Keel Band, and enjoy it as much as I do. That would be the ultimate reward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I one thing I got to ask you, too, before we get into I'm going to play a song, too, and all that from the album. But you were involved in a project that I was a huge fan of and a huge supporter of. And it was when they came here to Philly, I hosted their event and all. The Here I Go Again documentary.
Oh, yeah. Here I Go Again. Love it.
Dude.
I'm very proud to be a part of that, man. What a great movie. I mean, it's a great film,
Amazing.
First of all. And not because I'm in it, but I'm actually the star. I'm the hero. I'm the guy who saves the day. How cool is that? Didn't start out that way. Kyle Kruger and Steve McClure were making a movie, and they're interviewing every rock star they could find. And that's what's really cool is so many of my peers and friends are interviewed in the film. So they asked me to do an interview on camera, and I was glad to oblige. And we became friends, and they started asking, "Hey, you want to do this? How about helping Kyle with some vocal lessons?" And if you haven't seen the movie, for your listeners who may not know, HereIGoAgain.com, and it is a fantastic DVD. You can get the monumental 2-disc edition with all the bonus footage and all that. But it's a documentary film about two guys who were in a band in high school, and they gave it up, got real lives and real jobs, and now 25 years later, they want to put the band back together again. They want to relive their dream and give it one last shot. And they haven't played or sung in 25 years. They're starting over in their 40s. And as they go through this journey in the movie, from absolutely not being able to sing or play or anything, and they're trying to get their band back together, they keep getting hit with every possible obstacle that life and the music business can throw at you. It's a huge success story by the end of the movie. They're on stage with us, Monsters of Rock Cruise, playing and sounding great.
Yeah.
And they brought me in as a vocal coach for Kyle, and then asked me to produce the soundtrack. And I was really excited to be a part of that. I mean, we went in the studio and cut the soundtrack songs. I'm really, really proud of that music and that experience, because you can see in the movie how they evolve. And it's really a story about triumph of the spirit. And I was really proud to be a part of it, and glad that I got such a significant role, and some lifelong friends with Kyle Kruger and Steve McClure. Fantastic project. If you love hard rock, metal, 80s music, all that, you've got to check this movie out. You will not regret it. Nobody who's seen it didn't like it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's freaking amazing. It's so inspirational, too. And I tell you, I told Kyle so many times, like, dude, you got the biggest set of balls for what you did. I mean, you did what every, millions of kids that are now in their 40s would kill to do, and you did it.
Yeah. And paid the price, man. They go through some serious shit in that movie, and it shows. They bear. Sometimes it's painful. Literally, like I was saying about the good movies, they take you on a ride. There is tragedy and triumph and victory and defeat and all of those wonderful elements that make any great drama. But this is real. These guys really did this, man. They maxed out their credit cards. They did everything they could possibly do just to get from point A to point B to point C to point D. And the story of how they did that is absolutely amazing. And Kyle doesn't stop, man, to this day. And follow them on Facebook or social media. You'll see him kicking ass and being extremely active, still pushing that product, still looking at ways to get that movie out there to more people that can see it and enjoy it. #1 seller on Amazon. It's a huge success. I'm really proud of him and Steve, and just really proud of our friendship, and really grateful that they included me in the Here I Go Again movie project, because it was a huge thrill of a lifetime. And I wouldn't trade it for anything, man. It's great. Great flip, great film, great people, great story, and highly recommended.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll tell you what, the one song especially, I was telling Kyle from day one, I'm like, dude, that tune is a hit. It's a fucking hit. I love it. Going Again. Freaking amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great song, man, a great experience recording that. You get to see the evolution of that song and what we did in the studio. And there's some tense moments. I think one of everybody's favorite moments is we're in the studio and they hired me to do a job, all right? And the producer's in charge. That's the way it is. I've always been that way with Gene Simmons or Michael Wagner, anybody that I've worked with. The producer is the coach of the team. When he calls a play, you execute it. That's just the way it is, man. You've got to be that way. And sometimes it's difficult when you're paying the bill because they're paying me to produce the record. And, of course, they're paying me. I should do what they want, right? No, it doesn't work that way in the studio when you're producing a project. You're there to get results. And that moment when Kyle is trying to execute some very difficult vocal stuff that wasn't really happening. Maybe it was a harmony part. I forget what he was trying to do. And it's late. We're beat up. We're exhausted. We're behind schedule and over budget and trying to just get this thing done. And Kyle tells me, "Oh, let's just do line 34, line 28, no whatever." Because each line of the lyric when I do a session is numbered, so you can tell me, "Hey, let's hit line 28 again," and you can just go to that line and you give it another shot. And Kyle tells me how it's going to be and what he's going to do. And I sit there for a minute, I think about it. There's this long pause, silence. I close my eyes, and I'm trying to formulate a response. And then I start yelling at him. You're going to do what I tell you to do. You hired me to do the job, and you're going to do what I say and do it right. This is like, something to that. I'm paraphrasing, but great moment in the flick where I had to really put my foot down. And I got results because the product is fantastic. Really proud of the production and the musicianship. And we assembled a great lineup of players on that. Got Les Warner from the Cult on drums, and just an amazing project. I played bass on that thing too. Yeah, I got to play bass. A bass player. So yeah, I enjoyed that session and that movie. Great memories. It's a must-have. You got to watch it, a couple times a year on the tour bus. And I got to make all my new friends watch it, and also try and share it with as many people. I'm glad you brought it up. Thanks for mentioning Here I Go Again.
Oh, I love it. I love that freaking movie so much. I love those guys. Did you ever say to yourself, though, as you're working with them, these freaking guys are crazy? I don't believe they're trying to do this.
Man, no, I don't think I did. I don't recall feeling that way. I knew it was an uphill climb, but you could see the hard work and diligence and the homework that we did behind the scenes in pre-production, preparing for the session. Being prepared for something like that is everything. You've got to have your game plan in place, and Kyle had reference tracks, and he had everything mapped out, and we did all of that before we hit the studio. So I had a pretty good idea of where we were going. At that point, it's a matter of capturing magic and getting takes, carving tracks, so to speak, like we do in the studio, one take at a time, one verse at a time, one guitar part at a time. And, they're crazy. Yes, they're crazy. If I'm crazy too. You got to be a little bit crazy to be in this business in the first place, man. I mean, yeah, we're all a little bit off our rocker. I mean, we wouldn't be doing this. So, crazy runs in the family, brother.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of running in the family, you got the Keel family all together next week, May 10th, KEELFest, revisiting 35 years of Ron Keel. Music, family,
that's right,
friends. It's going to be a beautiful night.
It really is. It's going to be a great event. And it's just one of many that we're doing this year. I mean, I don't know that we'll ever do another KEELFest or not. That really depends on the promoters. They're going to have to cough up the dough. It's an expensive gig. And because I got to pay my players, I got to pay my crew, I got to get everybody from point A to point B and back again. So it's an expensive gig. I applaud Tong Productions, Missy Tong and Jeff Tong in Columbus, Ohio, for saying, hell yes, let's do this. If other concert promoters had their balls in their brains, you'd get a lot more shows like this across the country and around the world. Just everybody wants to pay $1,000 for some cheap tribute band. and it's going to put on some wigs and sing songs. That's the easy way out. And yeah, it's fun. I get it. I was in the tribute business myself for 10 years in Las Vegas. I was a celebrity impersonator myself, a huge joy and a huge thrill. I produced and created a show that was the longest running country music show in the history of Las Vegas. Starred in the show and I had so many dreams come true. It was a great gig. But that's I don't know how I got off on that tangent, but that's why there's not a lot of great events like this or great shows, because promoters are scared to cough up the bucks. And, there's a reason for that. It's because people are not going out. They're not going to as many shows. It's either they're paying $500 to see the headliner at the arena, or they're going to stay home and watch Netflix. There's not much in between anymore. So it's tough to draw these small crowds at smaller venues. And once again, I want to applaud and thank Tong Productions in Columbus, Ohio for presenting KEELFest.
Yeah, I applaud them too. I wish I had the balls to do it here in Philly. I tried doing some shows here in Philly, and it just very disappointing.
Philly's a tough town, man. I love Philly, and it's a tough town, man. When they're booing Santa Claus at an Eagles game, that's Philly for you as well. I love it, but it's a tough town.
It's a tough crowd. It really is. It really is. Oh boy.
But we had a good crowd that day on the streets, man. When we did that big gig at the Crossroads at the intersection back in 1985 when we played in Philly. What was the radio station back then? YSP?
Yep.
YSP. That was the radio station that sponsored that gig. They were, that was amazing. As far as you could see, just a sea of people packed in between all the buildings on all downtown. That was amazing. So those days are, the good old days, but I'm still in the game. I'm still proud of what I'm doing. I'm still trying to, whether it's one person, 10 people, 10,000 people, I'm going to give you the best I got. And it's just great to be still be in the game and still be singing and playing and doing what I love to do and loving what I do.
And putting out great music still.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Oh, no, thank you. So on that note, Ron, I'm going to let you go, but I'm going to play the single off the new album. And,
thank you.
This song sums it up.
Thank you.
It's not only about your wife, but about the band and the struggles of, fighting like a band and fighting for everything you believe in and fighting and beating down cancer, which hats off and many applause and love to your wife. That's freaking amazing. I'm so proud of you guys for doing that. I've lost too many people to cancer.
Thank you. She's right here and she's listening too, so I'll tell her. And I appreciate that. She is really the inspiration behind everything that I do. She made me believe in myself again at a time when I thought I was done. 11 years ago when we met. And how can I not stay positive and work as hard as I possibly can when I've got someone like that in my corner, in my life, and at my side. So she's the reason I'm here, and she's my reason to rock, and the big inspiration behind the title track of the new Ron Keel Band album, Fight Like a Band. If you're going to take on the world, that's how you do it.
And I think you just said a new song for your next album in tribute of your wife, The Reason to Rock.
Well, that's a Keel classic. That's already a song title I've used, and also that's part of the lyric on Road Ready, the lead track on the new album, which is really cool. The lyrics are a tribute to some of my past songs and lyrics and phrases and titles. I think I used that lyric in Road Ready on the new album, but it's also a Keel song from the Back in Action album, which was released in 1998. Wow. But good idea. Okay. That's a great song title. I'm glad I thought of it.
Cool. Well, Ron, hey, man, let's not wait 5 years again. Good luck next week. I know it's going to be a tremendous show. And hopefully you come to Philly
I can't wait to see you there, man. I really appreciate you making the road trip to KEELFest and coming out to see us next week in Columbus, Ohio on May 10th.
May 10th, yeah. Be there, everybody.
I'll see you there.
Ron, take care, man. Let's do this.
Thanks again, Jay. I really appreciate the opportunity. Always a pleasure to speak to you, and thanks for having me on the show and for your continued support through the years, man.
Absolutely. Take care, man. Great hearing from you.
You got it. You too. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Here it is, Ron Keel Band, the new title track